All right. Good to see you guys. Been a long day. Um Head's going a mile a minute. That's pretty slow. My head is going a million miles a minute. I'm all over the place, having a hard time today. Was trying to get our setup right. Um we got a lot to talk about. Uh Today was I was hoping would be the end of this all. It's a long chapter of a lot of people's lives, and I was hoping that today was the end. I was hoping that today would have been just a good closing all at once. I know that that's not fair as far as how long it takes for people to come to a decision, but it would have been nice to call it today. I want to jump in and react a little bit to the closing statement that my mom gave, Lori. I wanted to just talk more about some of those points a little bit more specifically because I got there later today and Kelsey was able to make it. So I was really grateful that she was there. It was an experience that I think she needed for herself. And it kind of gave, I think it's just good to go and have a closing to that chapter for her. She hasn't seen Lori since 2020 when we first went to Idaho and she wasn't even charged yet. I mean, that's a long time. And now she sees her in this situation. So I'm not going to speak for Kelsey, but I think it was good for us to go together and just kind of have that moment together. And it was hard today. If you were watching, it was a really hard day again. And it's always hard, but today was just different. It shows you that it's the end, but her statement had me fuming. Her statement had me angry, had me feeling I was raging while she was talking. So instead of me just telling you everything, I think we should just react to some of the statement, maybe all of it. I never want to tell you guys now that we're not going to do a whole reaction to a statement because usually we end up watching the whole video. It's not that long, but I think we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the things that she was saying and when and what I was thinking while she was saying it. So I'm just going to pull it up. It's good to see you guys. Sorry if I'm a little all over the place tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not exhausted this time from court. I think I'm overwhelmed. And sometimes, just a quick note, sometimes when you have they call it trauma brain, it's just so foggy and it feels like you can't think straight and you can't formulate your thoughts and you can't even remember what you're doing. And I've caught myself doing that a lot in the last 2 weeks. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. If I mess up my words or I'm just struggling, just be patient with me, please. But I appreciate you guys. It's good to see you. Thank you guys for the love and the support. Allie, think of you all day. Colby, much love and hugs from Florida. Thank you, Allie. I'm glad you guys are here. You know that place, and I'm sorry you do. I'm sorry you know that place is not a fun place to be. And it's hard because you remember the pain, and I think that your brain just stops working the way it's supposed to. So I feel like scrambled eggs. Like my brain feels like scrambled eggs, and I just catch myself forgetting things, and I'm all over the place. So we're gonna get to it. Mama Bear just asked a question. Did Lori know y'all were there? That's a great question, and I'm gonna give you guys a little insight on that. So usually Lori is pretty much scans the room. So if I hate to even say this, but imagine if I'm sitting in her spot right now, everything obviously is behind her. She'll usually turn and kind of check out who's there. And usually she'll look at me. And when she stands up to look at the jury leave, she'll look directly at me. And that's when we'll have our eye contact. I had her two biggest fears there today. I had Kay on my left and I had Kelsey on my right. She is scared of both of them. So for some reason, interestingly enough, she did not look over my way. It was really weird. I don't know if she was just focused or terrified or what the case was, but she did not look at me today. And I was very angry today. I'm not going to lie to you. I was very, very upset. I'm just thinking and processing through all of that frustration that I had earlier. Been following this since the beginning. Cried for y'all so often, praying for closure and peace with this verdict. God bless you. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. I'm praying tomorrow is the end. And I think it's a good time for there to be justice served and for us to close another chapter in this very, very long, horrible book. And I think that it's going to be good for us to close this chapter. So I appreciate you guys. Love you. We're going to get straight to this video. I'm going to walk you through a little bit more about some of the things I was thinking during that. And some of the stuff that she was saying was really tough.
Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
A grievous crime.
Hold on.
Conspiracy. Charles Vallow is dead today because this defendant and her brother Alex Cox conspired to kill him. They planned it out, and they had their weapons, and they orchestrated a way to ensure that Charles was back in the house where he was shot and killed for money and Chad Daybell. The evidence proves to you that Lori Vallow
Fast forward a little bit.
is guilty of conspiracy to commit, and Chad Daybell and her guilty. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to walk you guys through this a little bit more. And then I'll just tell you what the thoughts were.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the state of Arizona has the 100% burden of proving that I committed a crime, a grievous crime, conspiracy to commit premeditated murder of my husband, Charles Vallow.
Okay, so let's pause right there. This already was the end for me. I'm already done right here. We have to look, I look at it from the jury's perspective, but the reality is she's still sitting there talking about my husband when she's married to Chad, and just made that very clear in the interviews that we reacted to. So we all have been here watching her interviews and things of that nature know for a fact that she's already referred to Chad Daybell as her husband. But now for the jury, because she can put on almost said a bad word. Because she can put on for this jury and they don't know, she's playing them like a fiddle. And I'm not saying they're taking the bait. What I am saying is this already made me so sick. Because she's playing them, and it's disgusting. It really is.
The state has the burden of proving to you that this event was not self-defense. In your jury instruction under the instruction, use of force and crime prevention, the last line reads, if the state fails to carry this burden, then you must find the defendant not guilty. In the law, under your jury instruction titled Justification for Defense of a Third Party, the last line reads, if the state fails to carry this burden, you must find the defendant not guilty. Under your jury instruction titled Justification for Self-Defense, the last line reads, if the state fails to carry this burden, you must find the defendant not guilty. In your jury instruction under presumption of innocence,
you know what's actually wild? I was so angry already at this point that and some of the stuff I didn't hear. I didn't realize she addressed each one of those points for the jury.
The law does not require the defendant to prove innocence. Every defendant is presumed by law to be innocent.
You're exactly right.
Under the burden of proof, it explains that the state's burden is this. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is proof that leaves you firmly convinced of the defendant's guilt. If, on the other hand, you think there's a real possibility that he is not guilty, you must give him the benefit of the doubt and find him not guilty.
So here's my question.
In Arizona,
okay? Let's say you're not guilty. Let's just play that game. What do you win? Absolutely nothing. What's the point?
Self-defense is defined as not being a crime. So let's look at what we've learned in this trial. We learned that a shooting occurred and that 911 was called, that law enforcement was notified. We learned that fire, EMS, and Chandler police arrived at the scene. We learned that my brother, Alex Cox, came out of the house with his hands up as directed by 911 and was questioned by the police in the driveway. We learned that I came up with my daughter Tylee, and we were told to wait by the car until police would speak with us. We learned from Detective Inklin on the stand.
So mind you,
that-
I'm sorry, I have to remember to give the context here. Mind you that this is after Trina proved a bunch of points of her own, Lori's own problems with the shoes, all the little things that are lies that they already were able to prove that she lied about. Little things like she didn't have shoes. Nobody in Arizona, even in the mornings, walking around with no shoes. I promise you that. She did. They have the video of her. They have her lying to everybody with little things like the 30 minutes and accidental shot to Charles. It was an accident when they told the insurance. Well, the reason I point this out is because there's also a point where it shows you guys that she was lying to each person differently. So she wasn't just telling everybody one simple thing. She was trying to pitch different things to different people. And it just shows you right here that she right now, she already is caught in all of those because all the texts and all the things that she was saying to other people, which is a whole nother level and another subject for another time.
We asked for Tylee's medication from the house for her panic attacks.
Pause. I don't understand this at all. That seems like such... All right. Let me put this the best way that I possibly can because I don't have enough information about Tylee's panic attack medication. What I see in this situation personally, in my opinion, is that she's using Tylee's medication as a crutch to try to make it seem as if the police were denying Tylee the ability to calm down. She tries to make it seem like she did earlier when she talked about the detective having her gun around Tylee. There's certain things that she's doing that you wouldn't really notice that she's trying to make these points that make it seem like she was doing something or worried about her daughter when, in all honesty, she gave zero Fs about Tylee. Because again, the jury doesn't know this, but a few months later, not even barely, Tylee's gone by your hand. But you're going to sit here and keep throwing your daughter in this. And it makes me so sick. And this is where I think I was already upset, but these parts where she tries to go, well, they denied her to have the medication. What are you talking about? That doesn't seem like that had nothing to do with Tylee. I don't believe that.
But it was not given to her. We learned that eventually my brother Alex was taken in a police car to the Chandler Police Department, uncuffed. We learned in this trial that my daughter Tylee and I were also taken to Chandler Police Department in a police van. We heard from Detective Inklin's testimony that her goal was to make small talk with us. And
yeah,
the jury will determine what the testimony did or did not show. Go ahead.
The fact that you're getting objected in your own closing argument is crazy.
That her goal was to make the small talk with us and all the way to the station so she could speak with us separately before we would talk about what actually happened. We learned that all three of us were separated and taken to 3 interview rooms where we each told police of the events of the day, each from our own perspectives, and answered all questions asked of us. We saw snippets of that interview in the trial here. The state did not show you the entire interview. Most of my police interview is admitted, though, into evidence in this exhibit. It's number 286. And I would encourage you to watch that entire interview when you start your deliberations. It is important. It is important for you to determine for yourselves my demeanor and not listen to anyone else. You can see it with your own eyes and hear it with your own ears.
Exactly. That moment I almost screamed at the top of my lungs. Your demeanor is exactly what they proved by video. They proved your demeanor. They proved that you were unshaken, mind you, with 0 Fs given. You were not shaken up. You were not upset. You were in a good mind. You even argued with the same lady that gave you an interview. And I'm sorry to forget her name, but you argued that you on the way back, or wasn't I just looking out the window and just staring out and it's quiet? No, you're never quiet. You were never quiet. You talk nonstop. So to listen to her say this and listen to her come to a place of trying to paint that picture of herself versus everything. After all of this was just done, Trina just got done saying what she said and proving her points. She still is going for manipulation. That's different. Instead of being like, all right, that's it, I'm screwed, she'd rather continue to push for this. No limit.
We heard from several witnesses that because this event was almost 6 years ago, that their memories of the events and statements were probably better back then. Well, my police interview happened that very morning, and I told the police the events from my perspective at that time. It is admitted into evidence and will answer many of your questions. You did not see Tylee's interview, but we did learn from Detective Inkland that she did an interview that morning as well. You did not see Alex's interview, but we learned that Alex was interviewed that morning by Detective Moffett, the original case agent, whom we did not hear from in this trial. The state chose not to show you those interviews.
Object, Your Honor.
Or let you listen to the 911 call.
She's literally said objection. You kept talking.
The jury shall disregard that last statement. Okay, the jury can only consider what was admitted into evidence.
No limits.
We learned in this trial from Officer Kautheim's testimony that Alex was injured on the back of his head with a bump, and according to his testimony,
This is what's pissing me off to death. Okay. I've been running through this scenario in my mind. I'm going to just take a tangent just for a second and we'll get back to this. It bothers me to death to think about this. Okay. If you got hit in the head with a bat, by anybody, literally, it doesn't mean just a strong man like Charles was. You got popped in the head by an angry person near where your brain connects to your spinal cord, maybe a few inches above that, you would be dome rocked. Like, you couldn't have a laceration from a hit, not have any blood on the bat, and then have the presence of mind. Let's just think about this for a second. An untrained, not police officer, not a military vet, no one who's ever been in combat, have a presence of mind to run away and grab a gun, come back, and then you're telling you when you had the gun that you pointed it and he didn't stop, he still tried to swing a bat? How dumb would you have to be to continue to try to fight someone when you see a gun versus a bat? Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm getting heated. Just the story alone is so wild. Like, nobody in any presence of mind, angry or not, would see a gun and just keep coming with a bat. And if you got clocked by someone, especially Charles, with a bat, you wouldn't be awake. That laceration was completely self-made. Who knows how he did that? I always just assumed after we heard the story that like my mom hit him with the bat. Even that would have been smarter than whatever they ended up doing. They didn't think any of this through. They just assumed that they were going to get away with all of it. And it literally pisses me off because just from no way do you get hit in the head with a bat. And let's just play their game. She said that she's being chased. So Alex and him get in a fight. He gets hit in the head with the bat. And then after Alex is bleeding and messed up, okay, mentally foggy after getting absolutely tagged, right? When your body goes into fight or flight, if I punched you, you'd be in fight or flight. You get hit with a bat, you're probably not going to be able to think straight at all. He had the presence of mind to run to his room, unload the bag, open a case while Lori's supposedly being chased by Charles, and goes and has the presence of mind to grab the gun, load it, cock it, run back in, and then perfectly takes a shot. Are you effing kidding me? Does that sound realistic to you in any way, shape, or form? Just from now that we know the evidence from this. I mean, that's crazy. That's the craziest crap you've ever heard in my life. Nobody would think to do it that quickly. Nobody would have that much, and you wouldn't even have that much time if you just got in a physical altercation. What happened after the altercation? He just let you run to your room, you ran away, and then came back out? You're stupid.
laceration. We did not see those pictures documenting that injury as well. We learned in this trial that we did not know, the three of us, that our interviews were being recorded. We learned that Alex's phone was taken by police and put into an evidence bag, according to Detective Duncan, and that no digital copy of Alex's phone was taken by the Chandler Police Department, even though this is their normal protocol. We learned that Alex's phone was returned to him that same day with no further inquiries. We learned that after my interview and Tylee's interview that we were introduced to a victim's advocate and that gave us further instructions in another room where Tylee and I were reunited.
Mm-hmm. He caught himself with something else.
We learned that soon after that, all three of us, Alex, Tylee, and myself, were
Thank you,
taken in
Brenda.
another van and dropped off back at our house. We learned that we were instructed at that time that we could not enter the
Yeah, it's
house
an
yet,
absolute lie.
that we were directed by law enforcement to take the rental car, since all three of our cars were inside the police tape. We were directed to return later in the afternoon when the scene was cleaned up.
That's what we did learn.
We learned in this trial that we did as directed and left the house in the rental car close to 12 p.m. We learned that we did not return to the house until contacted by Detective Inkland to return to the house so that Alex could walk
Thank you, Robin.
the detectives through what they call a walkthrough. We learned that many detectives were present during that walkthrough with Alex. We learned that Detective Duncan was there, Detective Coons was there, Detective Moffett was there, Detective Werther was there, and an officer with a body cam was there. And yet, we were told by Detective Duncan, the case agent on this case on the stand, that because of some problem, the walkthrough is not recorded. Detective Duncan also informed us that he does not know if any of the people present wrote a report about it. We can infer from Detective Duncan's testimony and the fact that we don't have an evidence, any body cam footage of the walkthrough and no reports talking about it, that there are none, even though this would be crucial evidence for you, the jury, to have.
Sustained, the jury should disregard that comment. Again, the jury can only consider evidence that was admitted into
He's
testimony.
the patience of a saint.
I'm sorry, testimony that was admitted into evidence or exhibits that were admitted into evidence.
The state of Arizona has the obligation to show you evidence to prove that this event was not self-defense, as stated by the only three witnesses. So why not show the jury all the evidence that they gathered?
How about this as evidence, Ken? You told the insurance that it was an accidental shooting. You told me it was a heart attack. You told other people I think that she told the school, JJ's school, that he passed away. You just have a story for everything. You're just an absolute liar. The bottom of your soul, you would rather lie this hard to make a point. I don't understand that. How far do you have to go? How far? Thank you for sharing your insights on this journey. God bless you. Thank you, KH. Seriously, thank you. That was very sweet of you. You're strong and resolute. Keep your head on, Colby. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. It's been a hard day. It's nice to just process this with you and tell you what I was thinking, because I was pissed listening to her. Some of the stuff I honestly, I think I missed from just being upset. So
Again, sustained. The jury can only consider the evidence and testimony that was admitted into evidence.
We learned in this trial that Alex fully cooperated with law enforcement. We learned that my daughter Tylee fully cooperated with law enforcement. We learned that I fully cooperated with law enforcement.
almost.
We learned that law enforcement treated all of us that day kindly and courteously on July 11th, 2019. That law enforcement treated us that day like this was self-defense. We were not given instructions to stay in town. We were not given instructions that we were under investigation of any kind. On July 11th, 2019, we were interviewed by Chandler Police and released with no further
you.
instructions.
Appreciate you guys, seriously.
We learned that Chandler Police put out a press release that day on July 11th.
I'll sustain that objection to the extent the jury is to determine
see
what
you, Al.
the facts did or did not
Welcome to the
establish.
family.
Under Arizona law, I had the right to self-defense. Tylee had the right to self-defense. Alex had the right to self-defense.
And what are you talking about? What did Tylee? There, she's. They just proved that you fully planned this with other people. That you were talking about the before and the after. How this was a big week. It's all coming to a head, and you had places you could go stay, and all this BS. And you're gonna sit here and try to tell these people who just freaking just heard this evidence that this is all self-defense. And hey, dummy, the only person that technically would have been doing this under self-defense was Alex. So what does it mean? What does the right of having self-defense mean to you? Because that's who they're talking about. Thank you. Seriously. We're almost done with this, guys. And I don't just mean the video. I mean, we're almost done with this whole situation. It's almost over.
This event was not planned or expected. It was shocking. We learned in this
God bless you
trial
too. Thank
that
you.
Chandler Police Department neglected to do a thorough investigation. We learned that they did not swab Alex's hands for gunpowder residue. We learned that they did not swab my hands for gunpowder residue. We learned that they did not swab Tylee's hands for gunpowder residue. We learned that they did not luminol the gun. We learned that they did not luminol the bat. They did not test the DNA on the bat that they collected. They did not test the floorboard. They did not test the projectile. They did not test my husband's shirt.
Oh, your
They
husband.
did not
F
search
you.
the rental car. They did not search any of our 3 cars that were there at the scene. They did not test the gun until over 5 years later. The Chandler Police Department did treat this event just like it was self-defense
No, you idiot.
and a tragic family event. We learned in this trial that
that
Charles
makes
and
me
I were
so sick. It's not an accident. Even self-defense is still not an accident. So your story doesn't even make any sense because it's not an accident either way. It's not a tragedy. A tragedy is a kid falling out of a tree. A tragedy is something like a car accident or something that's just almost, it's hard to avoid. It's not something that happens on purpose. Self-defense is purposeful. Go read a book. Praying for you and Kelsey and Charles' family today. Colby, God turning your mess into a message. I know it's dark time for you using YouTube to talk about the emotions, and the pain is going to help someone else. God bless. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I'm obviously a little bit heated right now. What really made my blood boil when she brings up her siblings, I refuse to call them her kids, saying she wants the best for them. Yeah. My gosh, guys. Planning my
obviously having marital problems. Regardless of what was happening in our marriage at the time, on July 11th, this was self-defense. When Tylee came out with the bat to protect me, her mother, Charles did not have to take the bat from Tylee and start swinging. At 62 years old, Charles had a choice that day and could have put the bat down.
That was his choice.
A 2-minute period changed our lives forever. How are you supposed to choose between 3 people you love? Your husband, your daughter, your brother?
Oh, shut the F up.
All right, hold on. All right,
What did you have to choose? What do you mean by that?
I'll caution
What
the
did you
defendant
choose?
not to testify about things that were not entered into evidence.
Exactly. You literally were cheating on Charles with Chad.
How can you decide for another person if they feel threatened? Why does the state want to blame to someone?
It's a reasonable person standard, not the standard of the person.
I'm sure you'll point that out in rebuttal. I'll allow the argument as that inference. Go ahead.
Why does the state want to blame someone for this tragic event?
Thank you, Lisa.
What evidence did the state show you in this trial that I wanted harm to come to my husband? We learned in this trial that
Love you
I was
too.
praying for my husband. We learned in this trial that even though my husband and I were having marital issues, that we were both trying to
You're a
do
real
the
one,
best
Allie.
things for our son with special needs, JJ. We
Thank you,
learned in
Tiffany.
this trial that I was shocked that Charles had
Yes.
changed his life insurance policy, but I was not angry as the state alleges. In the phone call we heard from the insurance
guys.
company, we heard that I was disappointed for our children, our grown
Thank you,
children,
Katie.
as well as our children still at home, but I was not angry. My husband Charles was providing for our children still at home. I had no motive to change that.
What?
We heard a
What are you
lot
talking
about, we heard a lot in this trial about the Book of Mormon prophet named Nephi.
Mm-hmm.
This is the state's evidence to murder over self-defense, and it is utterly ridiculous.
You're utterly ridiculous, you dumb mother bear. Mother hecka. It's so psychotic. It makes me real because I'm sitting here listening going, how could you possibly sit here and pitch this to other people? You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you've been talking about. You know you planned this out. There's so much evidence that proves that. You use Nephi. Nephi only has one example of this type of anything to do with that, which is when they talk about in the Book of Mormon that, so this is what was interesting because I don't remember a lot about it, but the simple thing is he went back to go get the golden plates that were stolen from them or something like that, comes back, and Laban, the king, is like laid out drunk and he's told to kill and like cut Laban's head off. Okay. That's like this is like the Book of Mormon story. She's saying that they're like Nephi because of that point, that they needed to slay someone and that they were justified, not just but their own motive, but spiritually. What's interesting is to pitch yourself as a biblical, not a biblical figure, I'm sorry, a Book of Mormon figure, and tell yourself, this is my tie-in. This is my justification here. This is where I get to say that this is justified and I can give you proof. But then she goes on to say that that's not what she was talking about. She's trying to finesse the jury hard. It's crazy to watch her because everyone else in the room knows. Every single other person, including herself, knows the truth. But she knows they don't know. That's what's so sick to watch.
We heard from Detective Duncan, who admitted on the stand that he had no idea what I meant in the text message when I said, we will be like Nephi. In Mormon culture, Nephi signifies
even
strong
Mormon anyway.
faith, perseverance, and courage.
Right.
You're a chattist.
Sustained.
You're a Saturday chattist. And look where it got you, dummy.
The state's attempt to misconstrue the positive text message about a wonderful religious figure, Nephi, and try to turn it into an order to kill someone is absurd. This is an attempt by the state to try to retrofit a crime that doesn't exist. This event was not a crime. It was a tragedy. Don't
How is
let
it a
them turn my
tragedy?
family tragedy into a
Hold on.
crime.
I'm going to look up tragedy right now.
When I'm done speaking to you, the state gets to get up and rebut all that I've told you. They've got to have the last word, so to speak, because it is 100% their burden
looking
to
up the
prove to
definition of a
you that
tragedy.
I committed a crime. And you won't be allowed to hear from me again. So I want you to remember that it is the state's job to prove to you that I committed a crime. And if you have not seen the evidence that leaves you firmly convinced that I have committed this very crime, then the state failed to show you the evidence that you need.
Dummy.
Because I did not commit this crime. The only interview the state entered into evidence is mine.
Okay. A definition of a tragedy, number one, is an event causing great suffering, destruction, and distress such as a serious accident, crime, or natural catastrophe, a tragedy that killed 95 people. A referral of a tragedy from a crime would be someone else calling it a tragedy from the outside perspective, not the inside planner, co-conspirator. So let's think about that for a second. Kinda says, we wish you all the peace and love, Colby. Blessings to you and your family. Bye, Lori. See you never. Thank you, Kinda. That's just ridiculous. You can't even use that word. You don't even know what it means.
So I encourage you to go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it.
I told you just what happened that day, just the way it happened. The state put forth a bunch of evidence in this trial in an effort to make you dislike me, to try to attack my character so that you would just.
They used your texts. They showed you. Guess what? They don't have to prove or make you look bad. You buried yourself. What are you talking about? They don't have to attack your character. You did it for them. You served it on a silver platter. They don't have to attack your character at all. Claire, Colby, you are so strong. Keep your heads up. You're a great person. I'm sorry for your losses. I'm sorry for everything you're going through. Would love to chat some time about grief and loss. Thank you, Claire. You guys are reminding me about what the purpose of our channel is. I'm getting all heated. This is almost over. We'll end this and we'll end on a lighter
Just
note.
say guilty no matter what evidence they showed you. But only you get to decide. The state put up witnesses that had zero knowledge of a conspiracy. The state did not show you evidence of an agreement to commit murder. They showed you evidence of a family tragedy, and then they showed you the sad effects of a family torn apart because of that tragedy.
Oh yeah, fake riot. Disgusting. It's disgusting behavior. I don't know what you do because they don't know about Tylee and JJ. She's pitching herself. This is where I look at it too. She's pitching herself that this is a tragedy that happened to her. She has pitched now that self-defense happened for Charles. And then Tylee took JJ and herself off the planet herself. And so you have to see that Lori literally is telling herself that there's nothing she could have done. She is suffering for no reason. She's Job. She's a chosen person who's so good that God said, yeah, I'll let you be tested. And she is looking at herself in righteousness. Apparently she told other people that she doesn't need to repent. There's no need to feel sorry. And all of her misdeeds, all of the money and the adultery. And this is where I got to with Ray. I got this place with Ray. We had that conversation. What? I got to this place with Ray where we were talking about it, and like I never fully had a confirmation of what it was. I've always lived with survivor's guilt, and I just feel like finally when we sat down and had that conversation, it was like money. And it's like, yeah, that's the main thing here. It's just money. Is money that important? Are you kidding me? Money's worth your family's lives. It wasn't spiritual. It wasn't anything. It was just money and let me go be with the slug. Are you kidding me? My family's gone so you could have some money. They're all gone because you wanted money and you wanted to be together. That's what I have to sit there and look at my dad's body and realize that every single one of the people in my family is gone for money. And the only reason I don't think I'm gone possibly is because of money as well, because I didn't have any money. They couldn't have got anything from me. It's hard to live with that. It's hard to realize that that's as simple as it gets. You can call it religion. You can call it whatever. It was money. Can you imagine doing all of this just so you can have some money? Is it that important to you? You couldn't just go work. How about you get a job? How about you go earn? Work hard. Just messed up, bro. It's a hard reality to live in, man. It's a hard reality. I'm glad this is almost over. I'm glad it's almost over. I'm glad that this is a closing of a chapter. I'd be really, really hopeful in tomorrow. Hopefully they do come up with it. And then there can really be healing when it's all closed. I know Brandon's is coming up, but at least for this part, and then it's just one more. And then you're just done. You can call it. It blows my mind, bro. And it's like they were just the two perfect catalysts to just come together and just conspire. And willing to do anything to be together and willing to do anything for money. It's that effing simple. And I'm sitting there looking, and I hope this is just real. If you want to tune out, I understand. This is very, very raw. I'm just being very raw with you, and it might be a lot to say. So just giving you a forewarning right now. But to see the wake of that and see Charles laying there, you did that so you could have his money, so you could go be with another dude. You can pitch me all day about stupid religious stuff. I'm not saying that stuff wasn't a factor. Maybe that's how they justified themselves just enough. That was just enough justification to make themselves feel more special than they really were. But really, at the end of the day, it was carnal. Nothing spiritual about what they believe. So, with all that being said, today was a rough day. Tomorrow, hopefully, I don't know how it's going to feel. I feel pretty numb lately, more than just frustration and anger, and then just trying to remember to be positive. Try to look at life as a beautiful thing, to love your family, to take every day to look into your life and say that I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for everything that I have. I'm grateful for my family, and not let anybody run you. I am frustrated, and that's okay. I am processing that, and I think that it's just gonna come with time again. It's all new. It's all old wounds reopened. So I think that that's what makes it hard, is that this is familiar and yet different and new. So with all that being said, I just want to remind you the lesson I think I'm learning right now too is just keep, when it's hard, when it's tough like this, just keep doing what you can to vent your mind and take some deep breaths, go for a walk. And you guys reminded me again while I was getting angry during this video to not let someone else run me. And so I'm not going to let her put me back in that place. I refuse. Hopefully tomorrow there's a conclusion to all of this, and I hope it's the result that we're all hoping for. And just praying for the jury. I'm sure that was not easy for them. I always feel for the juries. I feel horrible for them and for everybody in the room that has to go through that and see those things. So it's rough. It's a really rough shared experience, and I really can't put it into context what it's like to have so many people be a part of the trauma. But at the same time, you guys are a shining example of the good that comes from this. You guys are a shining example of love, and you guys have been an incredible, incredible support system for me. So thank you for that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I will let you know tomorrow what my thoughts are if we do have a verdict tomorrow. I'm assuming we will, but you obviously can't know for a fact. But if we do get that, I'll let you know as soon as possible. It is going to be an emotional thing no matter which way it leans. So we'll see how that goes. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here tonight. I love you guys. And again, like I said, if there's anything I need to let you know, I'll put on the community tab. I have been posting on Twitter though too, more like live update things. So if you're interested, I think my Twitter's somewhere on YouTube if you're interested in that. But just want to let you know. Thank you. Love you guys. Have a great night. And let's just pray for the best for tomorrow.